all-time Sean Porter. Please check out Jay Calderon Boxing Talk on YouTube. God bless you.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Jay Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment, and we're about to get into this week's Boxing Talk. The most anticipated welterweight showdown that the boxing fans have been waiting for. WBA welterweight champion Keith "One-Time" Thurman and WBC welterweight champion Danny "Swift" Garcia has been agreed to by both fighters to take place next year, March of 2017. Now, this is a fight that the fight fans have been really gearing up for, and they have been waiting for this fight to take place ever since Danny Garcia moved up to the welterweight division in the summer of 2015. Now, I knew that this fight wouldn't take place anytime soon, that these guys will milk this fight for a whole entire year before they face each other in 2017, like I said back in December of last year. Now, Danny Garcia has just recently announced that he will be taking a Stay Busy fight tune-up in November in his hometown of Philadelphia. This is a fight that a lot of fans have been criticizing and giving a lot of backlash to Danny Garcia because of the opponent that he is about to face, which is Colombia's unknown fighter by the name of Samuel Vargas. This was a guy that was knocked out against Errol Spence Jr. in 4 rounds and has no business being in the ring with Danny Garcia. This is an easy walk-through fight for Danny Garcia, but I understand that the man hasn't been in the ring for about 10 months and he wants to stay sharp. He wants to be able to stay busy in the gym and also busy with a live fight before he gets into a big showdown with Keith Thurman. But everyone expected him to take on a better fighter than this. There was rumors that he was going to face a guy like John Molina, which was unacceptable to the boxing fans. That fight did not take place, but I got to tell you, John Molina is a way better pick than the guy that he just chose to fight in Vargas. We've seen John Molina against guys like Ruslan Pavuknikov and also Lucas Matisse, where he's put on very competitive fights that were like Fight of the Year candidates. And it would have been a good fight against Danny Garcia, even though Danny Garcia would have been the heavy favorite in that fight. And also, we've heard rumors about Andre Berto. For whatever reason, those fights did not take place. They also would have been criticized fights if Danny Garcia would have took those fights. But there were way better fighters out there for Danny Garcia than Samuel Vargas. This is why there is so much criticism for Danny Garcia's career path. Because we know that Danny Garcia has a lot of heart. We know that he's willing to face anybody you put in front of him. But the problem is that his team, his father, Angel Garcia, and his manager, Al Heyman, are the ones that really make the fights for Danny Garcia. And it's unfortunate that this young man that has talent, that he is a very good fighter. A lot of people know that I am a very big critic of Danny Garcia. I've never been a fan of his, and I just don't see him as the next Felix Trinidad or Miguel Cotto. He is a Puerto Rican fighter that a lot of Puerto Ricans do not stand behind him, especially this Puerto Rican right here. Danny Garcia has given us great fights in the past against Amir Khan and also Lucas Matisse. And he's also waited about 2 years before he fought Lamont Peterson, and we saw how that fight ended. A lot of people, including myself, believe that he lost against Lamont Peterson and also against Herrera, who was a guy that was not considered to be a great opponent for Danny Garcia. And in that fight, he didn't show what we all expected him to be, was to be this destroyer, an excellent Puerto Rican fighter to really shine in the division. Now he has moved up to the welterweight division. He's had 2 fights against Paulie Malignaggi and also Robert Guerrero. Guerrero was a guy that was a multiple world champion and also a guy that has been in there with some great fighters. He's always a durable fighter. A lot of people criticized that fight when it was made because they felt that Guerrero was on the downhill, but he still gave Danny Garcia a very good fight. He also gave Keith Thurman an excellent fight as well, but Keith Thurman was able to drop him in that fight, but also go the distance with him and give him a tough fight. But Keith Thurman performed way better than Danny Garcia did in his fight against Robert Guerrero. So a lot of people feel that Keith Thurman is just going to walk through Danny Garcia, and I got to disagree. I like Keith Thurman. I'm a big fan of Keith Thurman. I remember when Marcos Madonna turned down a fight against Keith Thurman when Keith Thurman was an unknown junior middleweight coming down to the welterweight division. He was a big welterweight. He was knocking a lot of guys out, and they wanted to put that fight on HBO, but Marcos Madonna turned down that fight and walked away. Keith Thurman has proven himself by fighting some good, durable fighters. But his last fight against Sean Porter, we saw that a guy that has a great chin like Bundu and Sean Porter could take a Keith Thurman hard-hitting knockout punch. And they were able to survive 12 rounds against Keith Thurman and put up a good fight. A guy like Danny Garcia, you got to give him credit. He has a tremendous chin, a great chin. And I believe that Danny Garcia will not get knocked out by Keith Thurman. He'll be able to stand there for 12 rounds with one time and take his best shots. Danny Garcia is also a very good puncher, but a lot of people are saying that he has not carried that power to the 147-pound weight division. And I believe that that's nonsense because he hasn't fought anybody that he could be able to knock out. You can't base him on the Robert Guerrero fight because one time could not put out Robert Guerrero. And we all saw what he did against Paulie Malignaggi, who was also a faded fighter. But Danny Garcia has a chance to hurt Keith Thurman. Danny Garcia is a physically strong fighter and is a guy that finds a way to win, always. They're both undefeated. They're both on the top of their game as prime fighters right now. So that's what got a lot of fans excited about this fight. I call this fight 50-50. It could go either way. I'm going with Keith Thurman because I'm a fan of Keith Thurman and I want to see Keith Thurman beat Danny Garcia. But I do not count out Danny Garcia, not one bit at all. I believe Danny Garcia has the tools to be able to beat a guy like Thurman. We've seen Thurman hurt to the body against Sean Porter, against Luis Collazo. So you got to put that into a factor that Danny Garcia is going to target the body once they meet in that ring. He's physically strong. He has a great chin to take the power. So it's going to be an excellent fight matchup between these two. I can't wait till these guys sign on the contract, but they both agreed to this fight. We know that this fight has been planned ever since Danny Garcia moved up into the welterweight division. It's the biggest fight to make in the welterweight division. I'm disappointed that Danny Garcia did not fight Manny Pacquiao. He was offered $4 million. He wanted a lot more for that fight. Danny Garcia should have took that fight because no matter what, Manny Pacquiao, to me, is the #1 welterweight in the world. We know that for years, he was #1, #2 against Floyd Mayweather. And when Floyd Mayweather beat him to stake his claim as the best welterweight in the world, Manny Pacquiao became #2 officially. He went and he took on one of the best fighters in the welterweight division, which I had also ranked #3 in the division behind those two guys, and that was Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley was on a hot roll once he joined Teddy Atlas, and Timothy Bradley is a great fighter. He hasn't been active since the Pacquiao fight, but Timothy Bradley is still out there waiting for a big fight opportunity. This guy is still better than guys like Keith Thurman and also Danny Garcia. I rank Timothy Bradley higher than those two guys, and Manny Pacquiao beat Timothy Bradley several times in his career, and he is definitely #1. He's only been out of the ring for 7 months, and he's returning against a young world champion in Jesse Vargas. And that's a fight that I believe that Manny Pacquiao will win and reclaim his WBO welterweight championship title, and he will be once again a world champion right along with Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia. And you got to put Manny Pacquiao above those guys because this guy, even though he's 37 years old, he still has enough in the tank and very fast hands to be able to beat guys like Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, and also Errol Spence Jr., which I believe is the future of the division. I believe Errol Spence Jr., once he becomes the IBF welterweight champion, is going to be one of the hottest divisions of today. Can you see all 4 of these guys world champions? Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence Jr., Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia. I mean, 2017 is going to look excellent. And 2018, we're going to see who is going to be the ultimate #1 pound for pound best fighter in the welterweight division with possibly unified titles on their mantle. And it's going to be a great, great showdown between any of these fighters if they can make these deals happen. Bob Arum and Al Heyman are looking to make fights in 2017. Let's hope Manny Pacquiao is included into the mix. We know that Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman are definitely going to fight in March of 2017. And it's a fight that the fight fans are gearing up. But even though any of those two guys win their fight, like I said, it's a 50-50 fight. They still have to face Manny Pacquiao to take that #1 spot in my book. And Timothy Bradley is still out there. And I believe a fight with Timothy Bradley would be a great matchup as well. And we have to see. These guys have not paid their dues. We know that Danny Garcia has a great resume, and he's done well at 140 pounds. He's the best junior welterweight in the world, and he's moved up to the welterweight division to try to capture another title and beat another big name like Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is looking to make his statement by beating Danny Garcia and collecting another belt and solidifying himself at 147 pounds. But these guys have to fight the bigger fights. This is a great fight, but a fight against Timothy Bradley or a guy like Manny Pacquiao is way bigger fight and more of recognition if they're able to get past those guys right there. Then you got the young lions like Errol Spence Jr., which is a big showdown later down the road. And you can't forget Terrence Crawford, the king of the junior welterweight division right now, that he's eventually going to move up to 147 pounds perhaps next year. And he's going to be also thrown into the mix. And he's an excellent fighter to become pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. So this is exciting times right now for the welterweight division. You got all these players in that division that are going to make it very exciting, and we hope that Bob Arum and Al Heyman can bring us these great fights, because fans are going to be the true winners when all these guys finally face each other, and it's going to be a great time in boxing, and I just can't wait. So that's my boxing analysis. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching this video. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's very important that you hit that subscribe button and subscribe. Put your email in so you get my notifications once I drop a new video. Jay Calderon Boxing Talk on YouTube. Also follow me on Instagram, and also follow me on Twitter at Jay Calderon Boxing. And please join that Facebook boxing group page, Jay Calderon Boxing Talk. I'm Jay Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment. Thanks for your support. Keep watching and please subscribe.